Alright guys, so this video will kind of show you how to analyze a Bach chorale. So this is one of the chorales that Bach wrote, and we are going to analyze it to the best of our ability. And I'm going to show you how to start on doing that, and then I'll put another example on Blackboard for you to do this following week instead of our Thursday class. So let's take a look first of all and figure out some things when I'm looking at this piece. This is just obviously a regular chorale, just like the ones that we're doing in class, but it's a lot more complicated, as you can see. So let's figure out what key this is in first. It's in A major, it's always good. 4/4 stays in A major. You'll notice there are going to be some chords that we haven't studied yet. So in your homework example, I'm going to erase those chords. I'm just gonna, use a whiteout over them. So you just have to analyze things that we have discussed so far. But when I was looking at this example, actually there are a couple of interesting things that Bach does which go against the rules that we've discussed. So when analyzing this, you have to keep a little bit more of an open mind because there are things that are against, I guess, what the textbook is describing. Not necessarily against, I shouldn't say against, but more so like a more of a exceptions to the rules. And but with no further ado, let's start. So here's what I want you to do. First of all, we're going to take a look at this particular figuration. We're going to figure out what this chord is, right? It looks like an A, C sharp, E, A. So that's a 1 chord. So you simply what you're going to have to do is, let's see here, get this pen going, write 1 here. And I am sorry, this mouse thing is horrible. So it's going to look, my Roman numerals are going to look really out of context. But this is supposed to be a 1. Okay, hopefully that's good enough. Now the question that comes is what's going to happen next. Next we have A, C sharp, E, A again. Ignore these two guys for a little bit because I want to make sure that this is an actual chord. So in order to, obviously these are going to be non-harmonic tones or non-chord tones, but in order to know what these are, I have to figure out what this chord is. So it's still a 1, right? A, C sharp, E. So I put that on. And now the question is, what are these guys going to be? Well, they look like passing tones to me, because this one is going from here to here, and this one is going from here to here, the B. So it's stepwise motion, the same direction. So they look like passing tones. But now let's just make sure that there is no chord that could be A, D, E, B, right? Because that particular chord could exist. The E bleeds over, the A bleeds over, so I have 4 more notes. So sometimes what Bach does, he's going to change the harmonic rhythm, where instead of having a chord every beat like he does here, he might have it every half a beat, But in this case, there is really no chord that would make sense for it to be A, D, E, B. It can't really be an E major chord because there's no G sharp. So we're just gonna assume these are passing tones. So write PT over here. PT, PT. Okay, very good. So moving along, here's our 1 chord again. This also looks like a passing tone, so I'm gonna say PT. And then I have F sharp, A, and D. All right. So the D is going to be the root, so it's a D, F sharp, A chord. Because F sharp is in the bass, that's going to be first inversion, and so it's a D major chord in first inversion, and in A major, that's a 4 chord. I'm sorry about my horrible Roman numerals there. 4, and make sure you write the number 6 next to it. Okay, that literally looks like it's a 5-year-old writing it, but whatever. Okay, now let's see what's going on next, because this is pretty cool what's happening next here. So I have 4, 6. So the next chord that I have is E, G sharp, B, and E, right? So it looks like a 5 chord. You know, in A major, it's A, B, C, D, E. It's the dominant chord. So put the 5. So normally the 5 should resolve to either 1 or to the 6. So I'm looking after the 5. The assumption is that I'm going to be followed by either A major chord or an F sharp minor chord, right? Because in A major, 1 is A major chord and the 6 is F sharp minor chord. However, look what's going on next. Let's look at the bigs, because we're probably assuming this is a passing tone, because it looks like 1 in a tenor, the C sharp going up by a step and resolving up by a step. But nonetheless, here's what we have here. We have B, D, F sharp, D. Well, I'm having a problem now, because this is not a F sharp minor chord, nor is it an A major chord. What is it? It's a B minor chord, right? In A major, B minor is 2. So 5 would go to 2. Well, how does that work? Let's think about it. Can 5 go to 2? Well, it can't. That might be a problem. So we need to go back. No, we know this is a 2 chord. I'm going to put that there. 2. So now we kind of have to go back in order to support the case of this being a 5 chord, this being a 2 chord, and look for some proof that this actually makes sense outside of just saying, well, Bach was breaking his own rules. Okay, 5 to 2, that's a omission. Well, it's not. Sorry, not an omission. It's a regression. So that would be pretty bad, even for somebody who, let's say, was trying to do something new. But I still haven't figured out what this guy is, okay? So if it was a passing tone, then it means that this 5 to 2 represents an actual omission. Regression, I'm sorry, because it's going backwards. However, if this was not a passing tone, but a chord tone on itself, perhaps the chord that would be made between E, C sharp, G sharp, and E, perhaps that chord would, in fact, make sense to follow the 5 chord and then to go back to the 2 chord. Okay, so let's see if this does make sense. Well, let's see. Is there a chord that features E, C sharp, G sharp, and E? Is the question. Well, let's see. If E is the root, well, that doesn't work. If G sharp is the root, well, it doesn't work because I don't have B as a third there. Hey, guess what? If C sharp is the root, then we have C sharp, E, and G sharp. Okay, so in A minor, it's a 3 chord. Well, and to be more specific, it's a 3/6 chord, right? Because E is in the bass. Well, 5 doesn't go to 3 as much, except that it does. Very, very rarely, okay? And this is something that I haven't talked to you in class, so if you're watching this video, you're getting some bits of knowledge here. Sometimes the 5 to the 3 will happen in the middle of the phrase where 3 sort of replaces the 1 for a little bit. So in this particular case, if we are to take a look at the 1 chord, we're going to notice that the C sharp and the E are common tones between 1 and the 3/6 chord, right? So the chords are fairly similar. So then we say that this is a substitution, okay? Where what we're doing is replacing the 1 chord for a little bit with the 3 chord. It happens, I mean, it's not very often. And if you were to do it in a chorale, I would say that that was okay from now on, because I introduced that to you, but I didn't give it to you in the beginning before because I don't want to be too confusing. So technically you can have the 3 replacing your tonic as long as not obviously at the cadence point, as long as it's kind of hidden within the phrase. So that's what it is. So I have 5, 3, 6 followed by 2. Now what's going to happen next? Because check this out. I have a C sharp, E, A, C sharp here. So it's 2 is going to go back to 5, 6. Oh, sorry, not 5, 6. Oh, my time. This is 1. 1, 6. So I'm having another issue because 2 doesn't go to 1, right? 2 to 1 represents an omission because there is no dominant to introduce the 1 chord. Well, if that's the case, let's look at this guy and let's figure out what this is, right? This one I don't have to circle because it's it is a chord tone. I simply am writing the 3/6 underneath it. Well, what if this is a chord tone too? That would make sense for the 2 to go to a chord here and then go back to the 1/6. Well, let's see. Our chord is going to be B, D, G sharp, and D. Okay, those are the chord tones. So if we think really hard, can B, no pun intended, be the root? B, D, I need an F sharp. Well, I already have it here, so I know this is not, because F sharp has changed to the G sharp. Is D the root? D, F sharp, A, no, it's not. Can G sharp be the root? It's G sharp, B as the third, and D as the fifth. Hey, guess what? I found the root. Okay? And then the question that arises is, what kind of chord is this? Well, we're in A major, right? If G sharp is the root, guess what? A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp, A. It's the 7 chord, right? It's some type of 7 chord because I know that the G sharp is the root. To be specific is a 7/6 diminished chord because the chord is G sharp, B, D, B is in the bass, which acts as a dominant. So you have the 2, 7, 6, and back to the 1, 6. And that's why this particular chord progression works. Alright? So this is how you pretty much analyze it. The number one thing that you have to do is you have to take a look at the big chords, the ones that are very clear, the ones that are on the beat. And then if the chord progression doesn't work, you start looking back at the little notes, the non-harmonic tones, or the ones that sometimes look like non-harmonic tones, but they're not, because they are the chord tones that make the progression work. Alright? So go ahead and do the chorale that I've posted on Blackboard as a homework, and I'll see you guys in a few days. Hope you enjoy. Have a great day.